my N64 collection. Wait, you can't see this yet. I did not grow up with the N64. My first consoles were a Game Boy Advance SP and a GameCube because I was born in 1999. And even when I was getting into gaming, the GameCube was on its way out. So the N64, I don't have a ton of experience with. I just sell them on my website, retroremaster.com. Anyways, I do have experience with it. Not as much experience as some people would probably like me to have, but I do have some games for the N64 that I want to talk about. Actually, I have even less games than you really realize. Let's start with Monster Truck Madness 64. It's got Hollywood Video stickers on it, which I love because Hollywood Video is where I got half of my games growing up. It's where I got all of my games growing up. Game Crazy and Hollywood Video, amazing fond memories of going in there. Sorry, Will. This is not my game. This is my brother-in-law's game. You'll see a theme with the rest of this video. Will grew up with the N64, and he gave me all the games that he could find at his parents' house when I got my first N64 a couple years back. And so here is his collection. We did play Monster Truck Madness, me and Will and my father. It was a bit of fun. We played literally like 2 rounds of it. I think we played like King of the Hill. I don't know anything else about this game beyond that. It was kind of fun, and it's made by the same people who make GTA. That's about it for that one. Next one. Can you guess whose game this is? Yes, this is William's V Rally Edition 1999, year of my birth, as we just went over. I think I played this once just to play it. It is a racing game on the N64. Cool. Now we're into some heavy hitters. Star Fox 64. Not a bad little game, but I have not made it very far into this very, very short game. It's hard, man. I've tried to play it. I kind of want to give it a shot on the 3DS remake. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe when I review the Analog 3D that comes out in, I believe, January. I don't think they have an official date yet, but I think it's going to come like January, February time. Whenever. I'll probably play this for review, maybe. I say that now, and I'll probably forget. But I have played a little bit of this. Star Fox is a classic, and I don't have much experience with it. Shocker. You're not going to guess whose game this is. Bill Clinton. It's Bill Clinton's game. Just kidding, it's Will's game once again. But apparently, either him or his brother, or maybe someone who owned this before, wrote Bill Clinton's name on it. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Even though Will can be Bill, and his father's name is Bill, their last name is nowhere near Clinton. So I'm pretty sure someone wrote that as a joke. And anyways, Pokemon Stadium is a fun little game. I've played this more than the rest of this stack, but as big of a Pokemon fan as I am, I have not really played a ton of this. I know it's got some cool like Mario Party style mini games, but I just haven't really played them. I've watched Alpharad and Joe play them, and they look fun, but whenever I have friends over, we really don't play the N64. I'm sorry. There are a lot better party games out there, like Mario Party, and I have all the good ones. No, I don't. I don't have actually a lot of them. So I really should make it a point to play more of this. I like just battling in it. Me and Will have battled a couple times. It's fun, but it's really nothing to write home about, honestly. You can battle in pretty much every Pokemon game that ever existed, and I'd rather battle in the games that I have more experience in. But I have a lot of respect for this game because at the time, it was huge. This was impressive. I would have gone bananas for it if I was a Pokemon fan or alive when this came out. Yeah, I was not alive when this came out. I had to double check. But we'll put Mr. President's game down there. And actually, before we get to the last 2 games, because yes, there are only 2 more games in my collection, I printed this thing a long time ago when I got my very first 3D printer. And it's probably like my favorite thing I've ever printed since then, since getting another new printer, as you may know. I've printed a lot of things for my games in my collection, mostly controller things, but I've printed these game cartridge things for the NES and the Super Nintendo so far, and I think I'm going to make one for the Genesis and any other cartridge console games that I have. I like to put these in order of how I like them. I actually would probably put Pokemon Stadium and maybe even Star Fox ahead of this next one. But these next two are actually mine and not Will's or the president's. This is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and it looks awful. This game is, I believe, the very first short I ever posted on my channel, where I fixed this by adding one little bodge wire that you can see right there, because a piece of the chip had broken off and couldn't be resoldered down. So I put a bodge wire in and fixed it. Other than that, I absolutely hate Ocarina of Time. I have a whole podcast episode about it. Yes, I had a podcast. It only lasted like 12 episodes, but you should actually go watch that episode. I'm really proud of that. Probably our best episode of the podcast that we ever have. Maybe the Spider-Man 2 episode. That was a pretty good one too. But this is a game that I never want to play again. And I am sorry if you like this game, but it did not age well for someone who's not that big of a Zelda fan and not that big of an N64 fan, because it has terrible controls, and the story, while probably pretty good at the time, has been very overplayed in today's world. So nothing really grabbed me with this game. I'm really not that sorry. And the final game, of course, Mario 64. It has got smudges of red spray paint on it because I spray painted my N64 red way before they came out with the replacement shells for N64s that I would definitely be using. But I spent a lot of time spray painting that, and I actually did a pretty decent job of spray painting that shell. So yeah, plus I don't want to spend the extra money to replace it and put in the effort to do any of that. So yeah, anyways, we're talking about my collection, and Super Mario 64, not my favorite Mario game, not my favorite 3D Mario game, but it's definitely the best game in this collection. I have a ton of respect for this game. Way ahead of its time. It is just a really solid game. It's a really solid 3D platformer. It has stood the test of time. I'm making a lot of enemies with this video. I'm going to go ahead, put my collection away, but this is my very small collection of N64 games. And I think I'm kind of done collecting N64 games. One, because I'm not that big of a fan of the console. And two, I have a flash cart that came loaded with the entire library on it. So I did not pirate any of the games. I do not condone piracy. Nintendo, if you're listening, I do not condone piracy. I just happened to get a flash cart with all the games on it. And I'd probably only get another N64 game if I end up really liking a N64 game that I find on that flash cart and I want to have the physical copy of it. But honestly, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think this video turned out as well as I had hoped, but I did it. And that's my thoughts on my N64 collection. That is my entire N64 collection. It is 6 games, and really it's only 2 because half of it is Will's. 4 out of 6 is not half. I'm just dumb.